Hello, stellar people, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey, and today I will be going over how I draw the human head. Human heads are very unique, and every human being is intensely interested in other human beings. So how do we draw them? Well, first, we start off with simple shapes. You can draw anything if you can draw simple and then more complex shapes. So first starting with the circle, square, rectangle, and triangle, but then leading to more complex shapes, being the sphere, the cube, the cylinder, the pyramid, and the cone. With these simple and more complex shapes, you can translate that to a two-dimensional form, which is your sheet of paper, to then draw just about anything you want. So when I'm drawing, and I usually start off with drawing the simple heads, you start with a circle, you do edge lines, center line, and a side plane line. And that side plane line with light, you can then know where shading happens. And with light, you can define a form with greater detail as it moves in space. But a simple head is a great way to practice drawing a human head as a stand-in for the more complex human head. But for those that want to learn a different way, you can also do block heads by using more square forms, squares, rectangles, to make the human head. To learn how to draw the human head, we must first learn the structure of the human head, and that is the skull. What all people's heads are made of. This is this huge, large back part, and that holds your brain, and your brain would be housed in here. All right, we have the side plane. It's here, coming down, right, and around your cheek, and coming towards your chin. And it's a great identifier for where the light hits. With the cheekbones, nasal cavity, which is just cartilage, where your nose, your mandible, for your teeth, you got the brow ridge, which if you look at it here, right, it comes in a little bit, then comes out. So for the cheekbone, it goes in, comes out for the eye. And it helps if the light's hitting, it partially covers the eye. So that's a signifier, right? The eyebrow ridge, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, with the bottom of your chin being the mandible. Yes, we all have this underlying structure. This skull is your underlying structure of the head. You're not just a flat shape. You're trying to replicate this on a two-dimensional plane. So here we have the template head that we worked off of last week to make a very, very generic head. But the best thing about this is that it gives us all the measurements. So for example, we have the hairline at near the top, the eyebrow ridge, the eye line, the nose line, the ears sitting between the eyes and the nose line, and the nose line and the chin. And then we have all that divided up. But we also have the side plane that helps give an indication, like if light is hitting it, where is the light hitting it? And if one side is well lit, then the other sides would be less so, and then even less so on the far side. But let's today do actual heads. So here's a rough overview of my process before we get into better examples. Now I always make this underlying, I keep it loose in the beginning, very, very loose. I try not to go too much details at the start. Make the circle, then from that have the center line, then you divide up the head into the forehead to the eyebrow eye line to the nose line to the chin, divided into thirds. You can make the oval, the ears sit between the eyebrows and the nose, or eye line and the nose. The hairline sits near the top of the head, but not at the top of the head. And then hair is usually based off of that line, where the hair is going to come from. Everybody's different. Every face is unique and different. So I make sure to, if you have a model or if you're drawing from photo reference, there are some allowances to be made. Like some noses are different, eye shapes. Is it male or female? Because that's going to give an indication of the variances. Men have usually wider jaws, narrower eyes, larger nose. Ladies, they tend to have more slight features, but larger eyes, fuller lips. So you have to take all of this into account. But once I have the bases down, then I marked it out loosely. Then I can go on to, other pencils, like I'm using right now, a mechanical pencil, to get those details. But I only do the details after I've already laid down some foundation lines. So remember, big to small, simple to complex, right? We're not trying to go straight in with details and all of that. I like to work, simple, and then move to gradual, complicated, or more complex forms. All right, so let's take this one more time from the top. First, I start with the circle. I usually make that circle an oval. Got the center line, the cross section, which is the eye line, and then the eyebrow ridge line, nose line. We have it in thirds, like 1, 2, 3. The hairline. So we usually start with the eyes. Eyes are usually the most important feature of the face because usually people look people in the eye, so they'll always go looking somebody in the eye, even if it's a drawing. So the nose line, between the nose line and the chin is the mouth. I do a side plane to give it some dimensionality so that if light is hitting it one way, I know where it is less. Try to define that head. Give it a neck. Everybody has a neck. But it's a lot of, in the beginning, it's a lot of doodling, right? I'm just moving around, not staying in one place for too long. Try to move all over the place, trying to get a feel of, what the subject looks like, and just get down the basics. Simple to complex. So I try to get everything out first before I start letting in the details. And then once I'm pretty happy with the situation, I then go on to other pencils. Like here, I'm using the mechanical pencil. And again, going for the eyes. Eyes are one of the most important features, as they're one of the most expressive. And it's a lot of how we gain feeling is from watching somebody's eyes. The nose, less so. But you can also tell by the mouth. The mouth, sad, happy, grinning, threatening. You can tell that by the mouth as well. Drawing the eyes, give them the general direction. Very loose. Nothing tight. Very loose. The eyebrow ridge coming in towards the eye and around the cheek. The defining feature of the skull, right there. Going from the cheek down towards the chin. The mandible, which attaches to the skull proper. All indicators of the skull underneath this, the fleshy form of the head. Given some very loose, very loose hair. But of course, it's always simple to complex. Keep it general, keep it light, keep it simple. And then we refine it as we go later on. Some shadowing just to give a better indication of dimensionality of the head. And back to the mechanical pencil for details. But I bounce around my tools fairly often. Because I was always, just blocking it in. Getting the general simplified form, simplified shapes down. And then a tightening up process. And getting the general down is fairly quick, but the detailing takes a lot more time. So let's do another one, but this time, let's go for a more unique head. So again, I start off with the circle. It's going to be in a 3/4 view. So that side plane of the head, the jaw or the mandible. Right. So we're going to do a center line closer to that far edge line, a side plane line, so that we know where the front side views are. The eyebrow ridge, the neck, the ears is between the eyebrow ridge and the nose, or the eye line and the nose. You got this big cranium part that sits at the back. Now we have the eyes, rough in just mainly circles for eyes. You get the eyebrow ridge, cheekbone, coming down into your chin, around that mandible. The nose, where of the skull, there's a nasal cavity, but the nose is there, mostly cartilage. Hair is near the top of the skull, but not quite. See how loose and undefined this is? And then once I have it down, pretty much as I see it, then, and only then, do I go in with a smaller, and I even change the stance of my hand, how I grip the pen or the pencil, for doing these tighter in close details. And again, I usually start with the eyes, because they're what most viewers are going to look at first. The nose helps define that it's in a 3/4 view. The mouth is between the nose and the chin. Not quite exactly in the middle, but it varies. But in general, some rough idea of where the eyes sit. Adjusting lighting. Let's get in there. Here we go. Back at it. And there's that general in, out, in. So sometimes at a 3/4, your lips protrude out further than your side, the side view, the cheekbone going towards your chin. But I also find that on the internet, there's a lot of pretty faces, and you can sort of fall into like some generalities of pretty faces, and it helps to balance that with more unique faces. So look at unique faces, more faces with character, more personality, or just people in general, not always the pretty types. I try to be more well-rounded, get a sense of, what other faces look like. And that can help inform future heads in the future, so that they're not so generic looking and same face. I'm back to my broader tool, do some light shading to give an indication of light and give it some slight dimensionality. This face is pretty nice because it has strong cheekbones, very unique features. Again, this is light and loose. I'm not focused too much on any one thing. Just keep moving. Back to the... Oh. I rarely use an eraser, but here we are trying to divine some of it a little bit more. And sometimes I have errant building lines, construction lines. This figure has very remarkable eyes. So let's wrap up. Not bad. So let's wrap up with some key points. 1, keep it simple. Simple to complex. Always start simple, then move to complex. The skull is the underlying form of all heads. The underlying form of all heads. And just draw and have fun. It doesn't have to be so serious. You don't have to take your drawings to be the greatest. This is just practice to get better, to have a greater understanding of the subject that you're trying to display. So I've been Trey, and I hope you found this interesting, and I will see you in the next video. So keep shining. Take care. Bye-bye.